$1.4 billion. That is how much money the NCAA incurred in the 2016 fiscal year. A huge chunk of this money came from people wanting to see Division I student athletes compete. Now, people try and argue that these guys shouldn't get paid, saying that their college is already paid for. But when you add up the hours that these guys put in, be it with school or their respected sport, it doesn't really add up. Division I student athletes should be compensated for all of the revenue that they bring in. Now, I'm not saying that they need to get paid a ton like professional athletes. They will get their day where they have a huge paycheck to come for them. And many people will say that, well, their scholarship should cover most of their needs, but it really doesn't when you add in the food, clothes, gas, all of that stuff, and any other necessities that these students may need. With the schedule of these student athletes, it would be tough to get or contain a job throughout the school year. So if they can't get a job, they have to rely on their parents to give them some money here and there when they need it. But not everybody's parents are wealthy, so it's kind of tough. And if their parents aren't wealthy, then they probably do have to try and get a job. And they have to try and balance their schedule. And how do they do that with school? And then they end up getting like 3 to 4 hours of homework or studying, but they have practice until like 5 p.m., and then they have to work until 10. I don't know how they do all that. It doesn't really make sense to me. Tyson Hartnett stated in an article on why student athletes should be paid in 2013 that scholarships often cover most of the student athletes' books and room expenses, but even a few extra $100 per year could compensate for the lack of time these students have to earn spending money on a regular part-time job. To be drafted into the NBA, a player must be 1 year removed from high school and 19 years old. If players are good enough, chances are that they are going to leave college after a year so they can be drafted into the NBA and get their big check. For the NFL, you must be 3 years removed, which is keeping most of them around for the full schooling, but a lot of them still struggle with money problems. Money problems are a huge part of why these student athletes leave for the draft as soon as they can. Arian Foster stated in an interview about accepting money while in college with Darren Gant of NBC Sports in 2013. I really didn't have any money. I had to either pay the rent or buy some food. I remember the feeling of like, man, be careful, but there's nothing wrong with it, and you're not going to convince me that there is something wrong with it. Now, I agree that college sports are more competitive than the professional sports because these athletes are driven in trying to get themselves a huge paycheck when they get drafted. And many people would say that giving the college athletes some money here and there would take away some of that competitiveness. They are so wrong. As John Brill said in an article about college athlete compensation in 2013, while a cash payment may not completely solve the problems of a college athlete, it may perpetuate some economic issues. Payment is what these players are entitled to because they are the symbols that fill the stadiums across national campuses. It would help student athletes so they can focus more on school and their sport and not have to worry about money so much. This, in the long run, could help the NCAA and the professional leagues by keeping kids in college longer, which would then help them in professional leagues by them getting more experience and work through college. It is also a huge loss for the NCAA money-wise. There are many ways for them to make money from paying these college athletes. So, in conclusion, Division I student athletes should be compensated for all of the revenue that they generate. They bring tons of money to the NCAA and their respective university or college. Student athletes don't have time to get a job and make money. Compensating Division I student athletes would be beneficial in many ways, so let's get to it. Thank you.